Good day, everyone. Welcome back to Tech AI. In today's session, our focus is on mastering the pen tool. Using the pen tool facilitates the creation of intricate drawings. While some may initially find it daunting with a little practice, you'll undoubtedly achieve mastery. Think back to childhood drawing books where connecting dots brought images to life. Similarly, with the pen tool, each click creates a line, seamlessly connecting your points. So, let's begin our exploration of the pen tool and its capabilities. Alright, let's start by clicking here, and when I click there, a line is created. This line will continue to extend each time you click with the pen tool. Now, as I move back to the starting point, notice a small circle appears next to my pen cursor, indicating the option to close the path. Closing the path transforms it from a mere line into a shape. It's crucial to work with shapes to ensure proper color filling. Speaking of which, we haven't yet covered filling colors, but we'll touch upon that shortly today. Okay, now I'll select and delete all these lines. You can use either the backspace or delete buttons for deletion. So, to create drawings using the pen tool, note that my smart guides are currently active, assisting me as I work. When I click, the smart guide ensures my lines are perfectly straight. However, if you prefer to create straight lines without smart guides, simply press Shift. As you can see, my cursor has moved, but the line remains perfectly straight. So I pressed and held Shift, then clicked to create a perfectly straight line. Continuing with Shift held down, I've made a rectangle using the pen tool. When it comes to creating curves, remember to hold down the mouse button and drag. What I mean is, after clicking, keep the mouse button pressed as you move downwards. By using Shift for a straight line, I'll click here, but I'm keeping the mouse button held down. This allows me to start dragging the line to the right side. You'll notice a C-shaped curve forming. It's important to note that to create a curve in the opposite direction or anywhere else, simply drag the mouse in the opposite direction. Moving on to another important point. If you drag directly here to create a curve, observe closely. There are two curve handles, one here and another here. This handle shapes this part of the curve. Even if I close this path, the curve remains. However, if I don't close it, this handle will affect the next line. At this moment, without dragging or clicking the mouse button, this line automatically creates a smooth curve. Simply clicking makes a curve by itself. If I want a corner here instead of a smooth curve, I need to close this handle. How? Just go to the last anchor point with your pen tool and click again. Clicking will close the curve handle, allowing you to create a sharp corner here. Pressing ESC again. Look at this point. Let me zoom in. It's a sharp point. Generally, try to close curves only when necessary, such as when you need corners. Otherwise, it's better to leave them open. Smooth shapes usually don't need corners. Alright, let's create something new. If I click here and then come down while holding Shift and drag to the right side, I want to create a leaf shape. Now, see how this curve is forming. If I close it, it creates a strange shape. I prefer a corner here, so I'll click on this point to close the handle and then close my path. If I simply click and leave, it only creates a half shape like this. But if I click and drag, see this, it forms a leaf shape. Alright, now if I want to create a more complex shape, let's say I start by clicking here and then move to the right side. Let me zoom in so you can see better. Moving to the right, I click and drag upwards like this. Then I'll close this curve handle and adjust the path a bit downwards. This starts to resemble the shape of Nike's shoes. I know it might look a bit odd at first, but with the pen tool, perfection isn't necessary from the start. You can always refine it later using the direct selection tool. Okay, now let's move on. Some shapes are symmetrical. Symmetry refers to balance, like our faces or body parts that have multiple symmetrical aspects. For example, if you were to fold my face in half, you'd see one ear on each side. This is called inverse symmetry, similar to how a butterfly's wings are mirrored. When creating these types of shapes, it's often efficient to design just one half and then duplicate it. Why? Well, let me explain. Imagine I'm making a heart shape. I start by clicking here to create a curve and then continue below. Symmetry helps maintain balance in design, just like it does in nature. Understanding this concept not only enhances your ability to create aesthetically pleasing shapes, but also streamlines your workflow. Okay, so I've closed this shape, but the issue is it's not perfectly symmetrical. If you find it challenging to make both sides identical, no worries. You can simply copy and reflect one side to achieve symmetry. Before we get into that, let me quickly introduce another useful feature: rulers. Press Ctrl+R to toggle rulers on the left and top sides of your workspace. Rulers help with measurements, and you can right-click on them to change the units: points, picus, inches, millimeters, centimeters, or pixels, whatever suits your needs. By default, guides are locked to prevent accidental movement. You can check if they're locked by selecting the selection tool, right-clicking, and seeing if it says Unlock Guides. It's crucial to keep guides locked so they stay in place and provide accurate alignment. Next, I'll use the pen tool starting from the guide. This ensures my vertical points remain aligned on the same axis. After completing one side, I'll press S key to finish. Now, with the selection tool, right-click the shape, go to Transform, and select Reflect. This option mirrors the selected shape horizontally or vertically. Reflecting the shape allows you to create a perfectly symmetrical design without the hassle of manually duplicating and aligning each element. Later, we'll explore more options within the Transform menu. But for now, focusing on Reflect helps us achieve symmetry effortlessly. Here, you can turn on Preview to see how your shape will look after reflecting. By default, clicking OK will reflect the shape without making a copy. However, if you want to generate a copy, simply click on Copy. Now, drag this copied part while holding Shift to keep it aligned with the original. You'll notice that currently, the shape consists of two separate lines. To merge them into a single shape, hide the guides first. You can do this by right-clicking and selecting Hide Guides or using the shortcut Ctrl+, semicolon. This keyboard shortcut is quite handy, as it shows what you've pressed, making it easier to remember. Now, to join these two lines into a single object or path, zoom in and select the two endpoint points using the Direct Selection tool. It's crucial to use the Direct Selection tool here because it allows you to select individual points without affecting others. If you use the Selection tool, it will select all points, which could cause unexpected results and errors. Before joining them, ensure the two selected points are aligned properly. Once they are aligned, you can right-click and choose Join. This action will connect the two endpoints with a straight line, effectively merging them into a single shape. Understanding how to merge paths and shapes is akin to welding or joining solid objects together, creating a seamless design. Mastering these techniques will allow you to refine your designs with precision and efficiency. After attempting to join the two lines, we found they were connected in a way that wasn't quite what we wanted. Rather than creating a single point like the corners of rectangles or squares, they ended up with an extra line between them. To achieve a true corner, we need to bring these endpoints closer together. Zooming in to illustrate, you'll notice one endpoint here and another here, still not perfectly aligned. The solution lies in ensuring these points are exactly overlapping. Just like applying glue to join materials, even if the connection seems haphazard, we need to align them precisely. Now, bring the points as close as possible using your mouse. Once they are close, select both endpoints using the Direct Selection tool, right-click, and choose Average. This option will align the points precisely to a common position. When you select Average, you'll be prompted to choose between aligning horizontally, vertically, or both. Opt for both to ensure the points align perfectly regardless of their original positions. Once the points are aligned, click Join again. This time, it should create a single point, just like the corners of a geometric shape. This method ensures a seamless connection without any extra lines or gaps. Understanding how to manage points and paths effectively is essential for creating precise and professional designs. Now, as I mentioned earlier, let's say I've created this object. If I want to join these two shapes together, starting from here, I'll select the entire shape, right-click, and choose Average. Oh no, look, it disappeared completely. What happened? You probably guessed my mistake. I use the selection tool this time. This tool selects all the points, and when I average them, they all overlapped into just 1 point. That's definitely not what we want, right? To do this correctly, I'll use the direct selection tool to specifically select these 2 points only. Right-click, then select Average, and after that click Join. Now yes, they've merged into 1 point perfectly. Got it? Remember, if shapes aren't joined properly, filling them might cause gaps or other issues. So, it's always a good practice to join them before proceeding. Alright, that covers average and join. Now, let's create another shape using guides. Where did our guide go? Oh right, we hit it earlier. No worries, simply right-click and select Show Guides. Let's create another shape. I'll start by setting the fill and stroke to default. Now, I'll build a spade symbol, like the ones you see on playing cards. Just as I mentioned before, we can always make adjustments later on. I think this part looks a bit too large. Let me select these 2 points with the direct selection tool and nudge them upwards while holding Shift. Okay? Great. Now, selecting the entire shape, right-click, go to Transform, and choose Reflect. I'll reflect it vertically this time to maintain its orientation. Since both sides are aligned on the same axis, there won't be any issues. Alright, just a reminder. The shortcut key for the direct selection tool is A on the keyboard. Currently, I've pressed A to access the direct selection tool. I'll select both points here, click on Average, and then Join. That's it! Now for the lower part, Average and Join. Done. Another shape is created, and I'll fill it with a dark gray color. Actually, let's make it a bit darker. Alright, I hope everyone is following along so far. In the pen tool, there are still a few things left to cover. But before that, let me explain again why I'm focusing on creating these simple shapes without colors. Yes, we'll add colors soon, but it's important to grasp these basics first so that when you practice, you'll be ready to create colorful designs. Now, let's discuss some essential points. By default, you have a white fill and black stroke. The black stroke is here, and the white fill is here. Remember, you can turn off the stroke or fill at any time. How? The fill option is up here. If I click None, it disappears completely. Let me undo that. To remove the stroke, I have to click on it to bring it to the front and then click None. Now, we only have a white fill here, no stroke. Naturally, our object isn't visible because it blends with the white background. See, it becomes visible if I move it here. However, if I also turn off the fill, it disappears. But don't worry, the path is still there. Just click on the default fill and stroke again to bring it back. Understanding these basics will give you the foundation to experiment and create vibrant designs in the future. I believe everyone has grasped the functions of the pen tool by now. Now, I'm sure you have plenty to practice. It takes time to master the pen tool. If this is your first time watching my video, please subscribe to my channel to receive updates on new videos. If you're new here, I recommend checking out my previous 2 videos to get an overview of our journey through Illustrator. I'm starting from the basics to ensure if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If not, that's okay, but please share it with your friends and anyone interested in learning. Encourage them to visit my channel, subscribe, and watch my videos. I'm here to teach you everything for free. Thank you.